Adam Jones, a 25-year-old millionaire, decided to test whether his fiancée really loved him or if she was only with him for his money. He told her that he had broken and lost everything, and what she did left him speechless. It was a warm spring night. Adam was sitting by the window in a cozy cafe drinking coffee. From time to time, he glanced at his watch, showing great concern for the time. So Adam takes out his cell phone and calls a friend. He had already been waiting for an hour, but unfortunately, his friend said that an important matter of utmost urgency had come up and that he could not come. Adam hung up irritated. After all, it was his birthday. And the man didn't want to celebrate with too many people or organize a big party, so he just suggested to his best friend that they have coffee together at lunchtime. However, every birthday always gave him some kind of inexplicable melancholy, and the boy became a closed and thoughtful person. He had recently returned to his hometown after 5 years living abroad. He studied at Cambridge University, one of the most prestigious in the world. The man graduated with honors and has now returned home with a sense of accomplishment and ready to do his best in his father's company. Adam called the waitress and asked her to bring more coffee and a slice of pie. He then took his notebook and tried to concentrate on what really mattered, his work. He was one of the directors of a real estate company, whose founder was his grandfather, who had passed away and passed everything on to his father, who now owns the company. After a quick look at the notes in his notebook, he put it away. The waitress brought the order, but Adam was no longer in the mood to eat. He had lost his appetite after remembering yet another disappointment with his friend. So he just said thank you and asked for the bill. The total amount was only $12, but Adam left a $50 bill and headed for the cafeteria exit. When he was about to leave, he heard someone shouting and asking him to wait. When he turned around, he saw the waitress coming towards him. She came up to him panting and said, "Hey mister, you forgot your change, here it is." The man looked at the bill spread out in his hand and replied that it was for a tip and he didn't need change this time. Upon noticing the girl's look of surprise, the young man explained that today was his birthday and that the best way to celebrate was by doing something good for someone. The waitress just smiled and congratulated him on his beautiful attitude. And then she added, quite sheepishly, that his name was Jade, and she would be very happy if he showed up at the cafeteria again. When he was already at home lying in his bed, Adam thought a lot about getting to know Jade better. She was very different from all the other girls he knew, and it was her quirk that attracted him. He had already been to the establishment other times, and always watched the young girl, but due to the rush of work, and because he was always accompanied by other employees of the company, he never had the courage to talk to her. Adam, despite his wealth, was a very lonely man. He has never had much luck in romantic relationships either. The man could only meet shallow or mercenary women, and this traumatized him enough to not pursue any other girlfriends for a long time. But meeting Jade gave him an entirely different feeling, one he never had with the other women he dated. She caused a kind of comfort and at the same time euphoria and nervousness, a mixture of feelings that was inexplicable for the boy. With these thoughts, Adam went to sleep. And in the morning, when he went to work, he arrived at the office and found his secretary Chloe. She was a beautiful young woman who always dressed very well in expensive jewelry and designer clothes. She also had a model look and an unmistakable scent. Adam had known her since junior high. They'd gone to school together and lived nearby all their lives. Chloe's parents had become friends with Adam's parents, and as a courtesy, she got a secretarial internship at the family real estate and worked helping Adam with administrative duties. Adam always knew that his parents would be happy if they got married, and the man had been noticing the look she gave him for a long time, but he was in no hurry to reciprocate, and he didn't even think he would. When she asked how her birthday had been, the man told of his friend's abandonment and that he had spent the day alone, despite also saying that he did not care about commemorative dates. To compensate, Chloe offered to go out for the weekend with the guy. Who knows, maybe I can save your week full of disappointments, right? Chloe said. Adam agreed because he felt pressured and then tried to deflect the subject by turning on his computer and getting to work. He just wanted to get women out of his mind and focus on his career. When the weekend came, Adam, as promised, went on a date with Chloe. They went to a restaurant and then visited the theater. Chloe was chattering and laughing nonstop, trying her best to make Adam realize how she felt about him. And at the end of the afternoon, when it was time to say goodbye, Chloe herself hugged Adam and tried to kiss him. But he walked away and said he was very tired and had had a busy day, not having the head for it at the moment. He took Chloe home and then decided to go to the coffee shop where Jade worked. The girl recognized him and immediately approached him. Adam noticed the kindness and joy in her eyes as she took his order. And then Adam asked what his plans were for Sunday. "It's my day off and I'm completely free," replied Jade. The man didn't even have to think too much and invited her to spend the day with him. The young waitress agreed and passed her phone number to Adam. The next day, he called the girl in the morning and they arranged to meet at an amusement park in the city, which was located on a pier and had a beautiful view of the sea. He spent the whole day preparing for the date. And his anxiety made him think he was 12 again. He couldn't wait until the night. When night came, they met and went on the roller coaster, had ice cream, and then went to the coffee shop where the woman worked. Adam asked Jade about her life and she replied, "I live alone with my 10-year-old sister Eva in a small apartment on the outskirts. Sadly, my mother passed away about 2 years ago after losing a tough battle with cancer. My father, on the other hand, abandoned my mother as soon as we found out about her diagnosis and never came back." Adam, hearing her story, nodded sympathetically. That was their first night together. Since then, his heart has been split into two halves. Half wanted to be with Chloe like his parents wanted him to be, and the other half with Jade. He was afraid of making the wrong decision, and he didn't know whether he would disappoint his parents or himself with whatever choice he made. Adam was stuck and needed to decide as soon as possible before the situation got even more complicated. One day the boy called Jade, but she said through tears that her sister was sick, coughing a lot and with a high fever. Adam was very concerned and decided to immediately take her to the hospital and then insisted on buying the necessary medicine. After that, Adam's bond with Jade grew stronger. He would often visit her and her sister, bringing groceries and having what they called a game night, where they would pick out a board game and spend the entire night enjoying themselves. At the same time, he couldn't tear himself away from Chloe, as the two worked together and were in constant contact. Then one day the beautiful girl decided to risk it all and asked when they were going to get married. Adam almost choked on his coffee and thought she was joking, but the woman continued with the subject and said that it was his own father who suggested the idea. Adam looked at her with a puzzled look, and Chloe glared at him and then walked out of her office. Adam decided that very day to talk to his father about this unbelievable suggestion. He walked into his office and said it was absurd for him to make this decision without his permission. The father looked at him in surprise, and when his son told him about his conversation with Chloe, he just chuckled softly. Adam then said that he had already made up his mind. He loved another girl, a simple waitress, and said he intended to marry her in the future. The father then becomes thoughtful and does not know how to respond. The situation was not good at all, as he had already had time to call Chloe's parents and say that their son was ready to marry the woman. There was then a moment of uncomfortable silence in the office, and Adam's father explained that this marriage would be good for the real estate business, as he was trying to convince Chloe's grandfather to merge his company with his, and with his granddaughter and the families becoming one, this decision would be much easier for the elderly man. Adam then says that he suspects it is just the opposite, and that his father was actually being involved in a scheme. The young man explains that when going out with Chloe, he realized that she is actually a superficial woman and that she is only interested in his money, giving indications that her grandfather's company was not as well as her father thought, and the girl she was trying to secure the good life by marrying him. This all made Adam's father very suspicious, and so he decided to suggest a plan. Let me fire you just for acting. Tell everyone you don't work here anymore, and that I disowned you. You stay home with no job and tell Chloe the company is on the verge of bankruptcy, so we'll see if she wants to marry you with no money and no job. If she still wants to proceed, it means she really loves you, Adam's father said. He liked the idea, but he was sure that Chloe would leave him if the man ran out of money because she loved the luxurious life and wanted to marry him only while he was rich. The father did not postpone the plan and immediately announced to the entire office that Adam was fired. When Adam was leaving the office, he left the door open, and the father shouted to the whole office that the young man was fired and disinherited, and he should leave the company as soon as possible before he called the security guards. And when Chloe learned that her father had disowned him and now Adam was without money or inheritance, she went to talk to the boy, and he followed his father's plan, saying, "The truth is, we are on the verge of bankruptcy, Chloe. It's only a matter of time before we lose everything." Upon hearing this, she looked deeply into his eyes and turned her back on Adam and said that she didn't even want to look him in the face anymore. "I'm not a woman who's going to be with some broke man, Adam. Look at me, I'm too much for you now." "It touches," Chloe said as she left the office. Adam spent the night of that unusual day with Jade and Eva. They went to the movies and then they all went to his house together. Adam kept smiling as he looked at Jade, but she could tell that something was wrong and asked if everything was okay. Adam looked at her and after a long look in the middle of awkward silence, said he was going to get married soon. Jade looked away in disappointment and quietly asked who the bride would be. Adam gave money to Eve, Jade's sister, and whispered to her to run out and buy some ice cream. As the little girl left, he took the woman's hand, looked into her eyes, and told her that she would be the bride. Adam saw tears streaming down Jade's face. They embraced and finally got into a serious relationship. Jade and Eva moved in with Adam in his spacious apartment. The woman was delighted with his apartment. She had no idea how much money Adam had, as he was always secretive about it, and she never bothered to ask. Well, I hope you enjoyed this incredible story. Don't forget to watch the suggested video and share this stories with some friend. See you in the following video.